Okay, the last video we finished up doing dodge. So now all we have to do is the rest of them, and it's pretty easy to do. I don't even have to go back and look at um, my problem statement anymore. I just simply copy this, and then after that break, paste it in. And then this right here, if we go back again, we'll look at my problem statement anyway. After dodge comes forward. So what I'll do is I'll copy the word forward, and everywhere I see a dodge, I will go ahead and paste it in. Ah. All right, so this is down here. So this is going to be forward, and that's got to be capital F. But everything else is small forward. So I'll go ahead and paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. And again, what makes this more efficient is the fact that, remember, we had some errors last time. I fixed all those errors. So I'm not going to have any of those errors in this next rendition of it. All right, so, and then forward count. And that makes my time debugging so much less. And I'm sure you found in this course so far that is where all your time is spent, is trying to run down errors. Okay, the last one is my cum down here. All right, so everything says forward, and now I can go ahead and test it. Except let's go back up here and change my default to forward, and change my forward escort. How's that? Okay. Now, as always, I save it, and then I'll come down here and preview it. So it's forward escort, so you can see that's working. And then I'll say yes, and forward, and I'll do escort again. And you can see now it's working just as I expected it to work. All right, so now I have to say no to get out of this. And we're done looping. So now I move down to the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it. All right, so we finished forward. So I copied forward just like this, pasted it down here, changed everything that said forward to GM, saved it, and then when I preview it, I also changed the default value, so now it says GM and it says Corvette. You see that works. And then I say yes, and GM and Corvette, and you can see it's accumulating nicely, so we're done with all that. Done looping. So the last thing that I'm going to do then is add my error checking and error trapping. So after the switch is done, then I'm going to say if, oh, wait a second. Before we do that, we have to add the error checking in. So remember, we use default for everything else. So anything else that beside that, if it comes down here and it doesn't match the first three, then we go into default. And for the default, I'm going to have the alert up and open and close parenthesis, and I'm going to have error flag, oops, equals 1. All right, so I have to get that error message, so I'm going to go back to my flowchart because that had it. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And then go back into my code, not there, and then just paste it into that alert. And that should work perfect because I've already tested it. The only problem else that I have is this error flag. I can't change it to 1 if I haven't declared it. So I'm going to copy this, go back up to the top, and you can see that we have all this extra stuff here. Maybe before we initialize the loop, I'm going to add a comment, initialize error flag. And then we'll use this. Ooh, look what I forgot here too. It shows how forgiving the programming language is. So the error flag has to start with 0. And look at all these. I have all this here with no vars. All right, so okay, so I've added all the vars in front of here. Shows how the reason why it would still work and it wouldn't work, say, in the Java programming language or C++ is because JavaScript is so forgiving that even when I make an error like that, it just keeps on plugging along. But that was not right. So I had to add all those vars. Now we have our error flag. So the last thing we have to do is put that in there. And after the switch is done, we're going to say if error flag equals 0, which means no error has occurred. Remember, we use equal equal. Then I want to ask if there's another guess, and then close that. Then we have else, meaning that our error flag has alerted. And here, what we're going to do is, let's just go ahead and grab this whole thing, copy it down. Let's copy it. All right, and then after else, whoops, I'm going to have a start brace. Paste this in. All right, and instead of it being that, I'm just going to make it equal to yes. And get rid of this. So we're just going to bypass the question because if they made an error, we don't want to ask them if they want to make a guess again. We just want them to fix the error and go back and make their initial guess. That's what we're going to do. So if the error flag, oh, where's my parentheses? So if the error flag equals 0, we're going to do the normal. If it doesn't, then we're going to be doing this. Nothing else has to be done. So let's go ahead and save it. And again, if you forgot this equal equal, you're in trouble. So make sure your equal equal is there. Now let's preview it. Okay, so GM Corvette. Okay, so that works. Then we'll say yes, GM Corvette. So you need to type that. And I say GM Corvette, and it works. Now, if I hadn't reset the error flag, it would ask me again. Uh-oh, that's not good. GM Corvette. All right, so when I click OK here, it should ask me if there's another guess, and it does not. So we have a problem with our code. Let's go ahead and see what it is. All right, so what error did I make? The one I kept telling you not to make, and that is I have to reset the error flag. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and copy this. I can't believe after telling you all that, I forget to do it myself. All right, so error flag. So you see what happens. I had to restart the entire thing and shut it down and restart it again because I got locked into a loop. Because if this isn't back to 0, then it's always 1 after the first error. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. That's why we test it. So I'm going to go ahead and preview it. I almost didn't test it because I didn't want to take the time. Okay, let's go ahead and see if this works. Come on. Okay, so GM Corvette, that works. You want to make another one? We'll say yes, and then we'll say GM. That's an error. Okay, so it gives us an error. Then it asks us to do another record. So it doesn't ask if we want to make a guess, it just gives us that. And then, good. So now when I click OK, it better ask me if I want to make another guess. Sweet. Okay, so now we know that we can get out of this loop. That's dangerous. That error checking actually is dangerous, but you want to have it in there because you don't want to, you don't want to have a bad application. All right, so what's the last thing we have to do? Well, we don't want to have all those alerts. What we want to have is we want to have document rights. So I'm going to go down here to done looping, And I'm going to get rid of this alert. I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to say document.write, and then in there I'm going to put my accums. So I'm going to say gm, what am I, copy and pasting, right? So we have gm accum, good, and then I'm going to do that 2 more times. And then I have, the first one is dodge, and the second one is going to be forward accum. Okay, so let's go ahead and preview it. Okay, so GM, Corvette. Would you like another guess? Yes. Ford, Escort. There you go. And then yes. And then Dodge. And we'll do Charger. And then I'll say no. So that's how it turns out. Dodge, 1, Charger. So it's coming out right, but it's not formatted correctly. So if we take a look at this, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this so we can see what's gone wrong here. And then I'm going to open up, go back to my problem statement, and just paste it into the top so we just can keep track of it. All right, so this is the output it's giving us, but this is the output we want. So you can see after Dodge, we want to go ahead and break the line. After Charger, we want to break the, or before the next one, we want to break the line. So it's, and then we want double spaces here. So let's go back into our code and do that. I keep doing the wrong one. So like we have to do, we're going to do that inside here. We're going to say, okay, well, Dodge is the first one. So this one worked just absolutely perfectly. But when we came down here, when Dodge count went to 2, we really want to break the line here and not put a semicolon. So I'm going to put in a BR tag. And then that will work. Then when we get down to Ford, case Ford, before this Ford comes down there, what we want to do is double space it. So we're going to put a paragraph tag in. Then this one is going to be a BR. Whoops. Okay, and then after Ford also, we want to have a BR. So I'm going to copy this BR tag because we're going to put a lot of them in. So after the word Ford, I'm going to want to have a BR. And actually, after the word Dodge, I'm going to want to have a BR because I don't want the Dodge, the one to be right next to Dodge. I want to be on the next line. All right, and then down here, we're going to do the same thing. So here, we're going to do a BR. We're going to replace this semicolon with a BR. And in front of GM, we're not going to use a BR, but we're going to use a paragraph tag. All right, let's go ahead and run it and see if that works. So I'm going to save it. The other thing I want to do is get rid of these alerts. I don't need them anymore, and actually they look ugly once I put HTML into it. All right, so let's save it one last time, and hopefully this will work perfect. We're running out of time again. GM, Corvette, yes. Ford, Escort, yes. Dodge, Dart, no. I only put one record in, but that's okay. Wunderbar. All right, so this is looking pretty much like we're anticipating. So let me move this over. So it's Dodge 1, Ford 1. So you can see it's working perfect. So that's it. Now I'm ready to go ahead and put this into production.